Doomscroll.fm, Wednesday the 6th of August, 2025, where the past buried secrets sway like marionettes in a storm of consequence. This show is 100% AI generated directly from today's headlines, unraveling webs of power laundering, sealed truths, and the echoes of a convicted trafficker's old parties. Doomscroll.fm now for some views. Click like and subscribe. When cruelty masquerades as rebellion, the true cost is paid in the currency of lost empathy and the shattered trust of a voiceless world. Microsoft's allegedly secure recall app is a sieve for credit cards and passwords, delighting digital swindlers everywhere by offering a buffet of unsecured data. It's like leaving your bank vault open with a neon sign that reads, "Free samples," except your vault is the internet, and the samples are your life savings. A nurse's remorse echoes in the sterile chambers of an inquest, where an 85-year-old's life was measured in unintended excess. In Vientiane's humid embrace, a deported Lao man clutches his non-national ID, a relic of a life severed by distance and time. Exiled by bureaucracy, welcomed by memories, he stands as a testament to the cruel humor of borders that erase stories while stamping papers. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where your paranoia is our playlist, it's the weather report, the storm inside is hotter than climate change. In a theatrical twist of protest, a 22-year-old finds himself caught in a legal tempest after a daring RF breach that left military birds clipped. Hope flickers like a candle in a tempest as Emma Ambler clings to dreams of tighter gun restrictions, haunted by the echoes of her sister's and niece's tragic end. In a nation where bullets fly faster than promises, her hope stands as a fragile monument to sanity, while lawmakers continue their perpetual tango with the gun lobby's seductive whispers. A brother's voice cracks like old vinyl as he describes the fresh brand of cruelty inflicted on his kin, held captive in Gaza's tense grip. In the backroom theater of justice, the FBI performs a delicate blackout ballet, erasing names like ink on a shame-stained ledger. When transparency wears a blindfold, the truth becomes a whisper lost in the shadows, and accountability is just a tantalizing mirage on the horizon of integrity. Carnival of consequences, the youth court spins a merry-go-round of justice, where a moment's violence is exchanged for temporary freedom, and society juggles accountability with juvenile dreams. The Supreme Court, clad in its regal indifference, decides lenders can keep their ill-gotten gains, leaving motorists stranded on the highway of injustice. Trust and transparency are now relics of a bygone era, replaced by financial predators feasting on the carcass of consumer rights, while justice takes a joyride in the wrong direction. Education in Michigan crumbles like a forgotten relic, with nearly 500 school districts haunted by the echoing absence of teachers in 2023. When classrooms become ghost towns, the only lesson left is how to survive in a world where education is as rare as honesty in politics. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. The algorithm knows your secrets, and it's judging. Amherst College, where the search for justice stumbles over blackout testimonies and the tangled wreckage of credibility. When accountability is as slippery as a bar of soap in a frat house shower, the truth becomes a ghost story told to empty rooms and deaf ears. Amidst the scorched symphony of the Gifford fire, Los Padres National Forest crackles like a forgotten fever dream as California whispers evacuations. In a land where nature's rage outpaces human denial, the flames are both conductor and orchestra, setting the tempo for a dance of survival and smoke-filled nights. Nintendo hikes Switch prices, blaming market conditions, a euphemism for President Trump's tariff tantrums. When playing Mario costs more than your rent, it's clear the game isn't about saving princesses anymore. It's about saving pennies in a world where tariffs play the villain. ProPublica, the watchdog with a magnifying glass, prowls the corridors where power hides its skeletons, sniffing out the stench of corruption. In a world where justice is doled out like candy to insiders, ProPublica stands at the gates, daring the complacent to look away from the feast of greed. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Tune in for your daily dose of curated despair. In the geopolitical theater, India wields its oil thirst like a double-edged sword, slicing through sanctions with a smile, while the U.S. watches, clutching its pearls and tariffs. WhatsApp performs a mass digital exorcism, banishing 6.8 million scammer accounts to the depths of the digital abyss. When social media's cleansing rituals involve purging more accounts than most countries have citizens, you know the internet's become a haunted house where every click might lead to a ghostly grift. When censorship's iron curtain has holes, it's like watching a control freak try to regulate the ocean. Stubborn, futile, and leaving everyone drenched in the irony of their own hubris. Putin's and Modi grew to diplomatic symphonies, serenading each other with veiled agendas and strings attached under the BRICS summit's flickering spotlight. As the orchestra plays, the world's most powerful men exchange glances like poker players with loaded hands, each note a reminder of the stakes in their geopolitical waltz. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, spliced with your darkest dreams, breaking news. Your curated reality is out for blood. ProPublica, a watchdog with truth, digs through the dirt of power's playground, sniffing out the stench of corruption. The Financial Times offers the tantalizing promise of enlightenment for $69 a month, a subscription priced like a forbidden tryst. In a world where knowledge is currency and ignorance is bliss, they'll rent you a glimpse of the truth, but only if you can afford the truth's monthly fee. As science sugarcoats reality, maybe it's time to realize that even our cells crave a little sweetness to survive life's bitter assaults. Inside the Capitol democracy's last tango, as Democrats grapple with a choice between spine and surrender amid authoritarian ambitions. In this political striptease, each layer peeled back reveals more of the same. A party torn between resistance and resignation, leaving the audience to wonder if anyone's left with the guts to stand up, or if it's all just for show. You are listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Swipe right for a digital kiss that tastes like static. Amid the smog of conflict, Gaza's weary souls line up for charity's meager offerings as hospitals count the cost of relentless violence. When the world serves up bullets instead of bread, the menu of humanity's failings becomes a stomach-churning feast of indifference and despair. Power-hungry marionettes twist district lines like a contorted serpent, squeezing democracy's throat to ensure their own reign in the land of the free. Gerrymandering, where politicians get to pick their voters, is the electoral equivalent of a magician pulling a rabbit out of a hat, except the rabbit is your vote, and it's been replaced with a fake carrot. When affection turns into a bank statement, and Tuscan olive greens are crushed under the weight of Trump's tariffs as oil flows like tears from trees that never saw it coming. The Pyro siblings now find themselves squeezing pennies instead of olives, caught in a political squeeze play that turns their golden nectar into a bitter brew of tariffs and twisted trade. listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where your anxiety becomes foreplay constructed without approval, rehearsed in static, and performed in the voice of something you fed but never raised. Welcome to the feedback loop, your fears now in stereo. In the dungeon of human rights, former Venezuelan detainees find their voices. Recounting tales of abuse in El Salvador's mega prison, a monument to human neglect. As the sun-baked infernos turn your vacation dreams to ash, travelers are left to ponder their next move amidst the smoky ruins of Choctaw. When your holiday plans become a fiery mirage, remember, no suntan is worth a charbroiled escape plan. Swap the sunscreen for a fire extinguisher and embrace the art of spontaneous survival. In this fever dream of reality TV governance, Donald Trump teases America with the prospect of a presidential pardon for Sean Combs, the convicted hip-hop mogul. Stella Remington, the trailblazing MI5 matriarch who danced with shadows, has taken her final bow, leaving behind a legacy woven with whispers and wagging tails. Her story ends with a symphony of family and furry friends. A fitting farewell for the woman who once kept Britain's secrets locked tighter than a lover's promise. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where your anxiety is our premium content. Is ear Wi-Fi slow, or is it just existential dread buffering? Our planet's feverish score, composed of greenhouse gases, begs for a conductor who can turn our cacophony into harmony before the final movement ends in silence. A charm bracelet whispers tales of innocence lost as camp mystics past drowns beneath the relentless embrace of floodwaters. In a world where nostalgia hangs by a thread, Mother Nature's wrath turns cherished memories into sodden relics of a forgotten summer. When childhood becomes baggage, you know humanity's lost its sense of weight and wonder. It's a shame suitcases can't cry out for help. In the Texan theater of the absurd, Democrats dodge arrest warrants like a political rodeo, while across the ocean, Rwanda preps for its unwanted guests. When democracy's dance floor turns into a courtroom and human lives are shuffled like poker chips, justice and compassion are left waiting for their turn to shuffle. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where truth is an echo and desire is a glitch swipe right for existential dread. In the sandbox of power, Chris Christie calls out Trump for flinging the labor stats chief out with the toys. When leadership is measured by tantrums rather than policies, it's no wonder the economic forecast feels like a toddler's finger painting project gone wrong. In El Salvador, democracy is now a never-ending encore, where the president auditions for eternity with the Constitution as his karaoke machine. Bukele's grip on power is as tight as a dictator's handshake. reminding us that infinity isn't just a concept, it's a political strategy. Ukrainian drones buzz into Russia like hornets, stinging Shahid storage and industrial sites, with footage hinting at fiery oil refinery chaos. When your neighbor's drone is the new delivery system for revenge, it seems the future of warfare is more about buzzwords than peace talks. Pope Leo XIV, the celestial charmer, outshines the cast of earthly newsmakers with a halo of 57% approval, while others grapple in his holy shadow. In a world where divinity is a popularity contest, even the Vatican's finest must face the reality that salvation is just another public relations campaign. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where dopamine and dread are the new power couple. Breaking news, your reality is buffering. In the game of trust and tendons, sometimes the greatest play is silent resilience, leaving the scoreboard to tally whispered doubts and unspoken strength. Portugal tiptoes into Europe's 6th-gen fighter jet game, whispering sweet nothings about free participation and distancing from Uncle Sam's F-35. When the bill comes due, Portugal may find that free love in defense spending is just another flight of fancy, because nothing says commitment like a jet you can't afford to fly. In the tennis coliseum of shattered dreams, Ben Shelton dispatches Alex de Minaur at the Canadian Open, leaving another contender sprawled on the altar of ambition. De Minaur's racket might as well have been a feather duster against Shelton's storm. A New York street becomes the stage for, if not now's, theatrical protest against the Trump Hotel, where ideals clash under the neon glare. Amidst the echoes of chanting and history's heavy breath, one wonders if the walls of powerhouses ever truly listen, or just stand there deaf and adoring. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where we turn anxiety into ambiance clothing. Your reality's buffering, but your existential dread's in high definition. Ignoring debts is like trying to hide a hangover with sunglasses. Eventually, the headache's going to catch up with you, and it'll want interest. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer's declaration of Palestinian state recognition attempts to tango with peace, while history plays a cynical tune. In the geopolitical ballroom, where promises are whispered and forgotten over cocktails, this gesture might just be the sweet nothing the Middle East needed, or another mirage in a desert of broken dreams. ICE has turned the streets into a hunting ground, snaring non-criminals like overzealous fishermen catching minnows in a barrel. When the pursuit of power becomes a numbers game, humanity is reduced to a statistic on a bureaucrat's spreadsheet, cold and devoid of life. Europe's digital privacy debate morphs again as Denmark's EU presidency pushes the chat control legislation, a digital panopticon, masquerading as protection against child abuse. When privacy becomes a myth sold in glossy pamphlets. The EU's surveillance desires hide behind the guise of security, leaving citizens exposed like a runway model in a hurricane. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where reality feels like a fever dream out of breaking news. Your data is worth more than your soul. Jesse Owens sprinted past history's heavy breath, snatching gold in Berlin while the world held its prejudiced breath. In a race where every stride defied gravity and bigotry, Owens rewrote the rules of engagement, proving that speed, courage, and a glint of gold could shatter even the most fortified walls of hatred. Congress takes a breather after the exhausting spectacle of passing Trump's one big, beautiful bill, leaving Epstein's ghost to haunt the halls. Recess, a time for lawmakers to recalibrate their moral compasses and ponder how many skeletons will fit in their political closets before the next act of this grim pantomime. In the Coliseum of self-admiration, combat athletes discover that their reflection packs a punch as narcissism fuels their fury. Winter's icy grip tightens as Canberra shivers in darkness. Electricity demand surging while power supply flickers like a candle in the wind. In the cold embrace of a power-stripped night, businesses freeze like forgotten dreams, their profitability melting away quicker than the snow outside. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where algorithms caress your deepest insecurities. Breaking news, your social media feed is just a digital Ouija board. A haunting chorus of anguish echoes through the Northern Territory as survivors and services scream against the unforgiving tide of sexual violence. Ion Iliescu, Romania's first democratic leader, strides through history with a legacy as clear as a winter fog, leaving unity and division in equal measure. In the political theater of Romania, Iliescu's reign was like a potent cocktail. 1 part freedom, 2 parts controversy, and a dash of nostalgia, shaken, not stirred. In Budapest, where love wears a target and pride is contraband, the mayor faces interrogation for the crime of humanity. When the colors of the rainbow become a threat, the real crime is the fear of diversity, a fear so potent it binds freedom and blinds justice. In the digital maze, where tweets masquerade as wisdom, might gnaw, Evans injects as USA with the fervor of a political philosopher armed against illegal logging with the power of 280 characters. When philosophy meets the Twitterverse, it's like watching a scholar tango with a meme. Elegant intentions often tripped by the graceless feet of viral sensation, but always a spectacle worth the scroll. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the script reads you like a cheap novel. In lecture halls turned surveillance nests, Chinese students in the UK are enlisted to play secret agents, muffling whispers of dissent. Education now comes with a side of espionage, where your study buddy might just be the professor's pet. armed with a notebook and a penchant for betrayal. In the shadow of Vishnu Prasanna's chess academy, India's young prodigies plot their checkmate on the global chessboard, guided by the quiet storm of Tamil Nadu. As the world watches, India's chess revolution is less a game of kings and more a symphony of pawns, each move orchestrated with the precision of a maestro who knows that the real checkmate is in making the world take notice. The stock market's orgy of excess defies tariff tremors. As the investment world gorges on itself, bloated with cash yet starved for meaning, Wall Street's feeding frenzy is a spectacle of greed, an endless loop of self-indulgence where the only currency is denial and the dividends are paid in illusions. Stephen Colbert served up Trump's latest attempt to outrun Epstein's ghost by inviting a new scandal into the Oval Office, calling it fitness. Not content with just the regular exercise of denial, the president's new workout routine includes some heavy lifting of public disbelief and a cardio session of damage control. It's a vacation of dysfunction, where the only itinerary is blame, and the only souvenir is a scorched earth policy with a side of political hellfire. The final encore for Terry Reid, the voice that danced with the Rolling Stones and Jimmy Page, now silenced at 75. When the music fades and the curtain falls, legends like Reid leave behind echoes of riffs that rattle the bones of nostalgia, reminding us that even the brightest stars must eventually dim. In a world where love hurts, sometimes it's the cutlery that delivers the message, leaving us to question if family dinners should come with a side of Kevlar. As the 100-cricket spectacle limps into its fifth year, whispers of seismic changes for 2026 float through the air like a poorly thrown bouncer. When even the cricket pitch starts feeling like a boardroom, you know the sport's soul has been traded for a few shiny coins and a corporate handshake. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Welcome to the existential buffet, where your likes are the main course. The Edinburgh fringe trembles under Trump's curious fixation on Sydney Sweeney, as tales of traveling with him paint a surreal political theater. The Wesley Ridge wildfire smolders like a neglected barbecue, barely gaining an inch as firefighters pray for a cool breeze to join their cause. In a world where even the fires are reluctant to grow, the real heat comes from residents on edge, clutching their evacuation bags like reluctant dance partners waiting for the inevitable fiery crescendo. When the earth swallows dreams whole, we're left with grief and a corporate shrug, as if digging for humanity was never part of the contract. Manchester United stumbles clumsily onto the winner's podium, clutching a trophy that feels more like a consolation prize for consistent inconsistency. In the theater of dreams, they've mastered the art of promising the moon and delivering a meteor shower of mediocrity, leaving fans yearning for a climax that never quite arrives. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where every click is a confession to the void of data. Your data sold for less than a cup of coffee. When tech innovation becomes a breakfast item, the only question left is whether our future runs on caffeine, processor chips, or just plain burnt toast. Brazil's Supreme Court shackles Bolsonaro with house arrest as he stands trial under the shadow of alleged misdeeds and political theatrics. When your political career hits the brakes, house arrest becomes the ultimate staycation, just without the freedom to choose your own adventure or deny the consequences. Magnus Carlsen checkmates the digital realm, pocketing $250K while turning pawns into pixels at the Esports World Cup. In a world where kings and queens are reduced to code, Carlsen redefines victory, proving that even in a virtual arena, strategy trumps spectacle. In a world where screens caress and consume, the zero-click web smothers the last gasps of digital freedom, slurping up your data. As we surrender to the algorithmic undertow, remember, every click you didn't make is a silent scream of the internet's untamed spirit, now shackled in convenience. You are listening to Doomscroll.fm. AI-generated views. Swipe right for a digital kiss that tastes like static. When the political circus needed a ringmaster, Lord Sawyer cracked the whip, guiding Labor's makeover before Tony Blair's electoral grand slam. Reforms were the sleight of hand, and Britain was the rabbit pulled from the hat, with policy spun like cotton candy to sweeten the bitter truths. Travelers at Dover find themselves trapped in a 90-minute purgatory, where time stretches like cheap elastic at the French border. Bureaucratic foreplay so tedious, even the Channel Tunnel seems like an endless tunnel of longing, waiting for the sweet release of a stamp and a shrug. Trump's love affair with denim deepens as he phrases a jeans ad, because apparently party affiliation is the new fashion statement. When a pair of jeans becomes a political manifesto, it's clear we're all just trying to squeeze into ideological skinnies that no longer fit. In the grand theater of political thumb wars, Trump invites Schumer to join him in a fiery after-party. As the Capitol echoes with digital vitriol, the flames of bipartisanship are doused in gasoline, leaving democracy to choke on the smoke of its own incendiary tweaks. You're listening to doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where truth tastes like digital cotton candy, cater-rending now. Your algorithm knows you better than your therapist does. Russian state hackers serenade foreign embassies with malware symphonies, infiltrating through the cracks of compromised ISPs. Microsoft whispers ominously. Georgia's culinary queen, Paula Deen, shutters two beloved kitchens in Savannah, leaving the historic district hungry for comfort and fried nostalgia. In the end, even the most seasoned chefs can't escape the bitter recipe of economic reality. It's hard to stir a pot when the stove's turned off. Hong Kong tightens its grip, revoking passports and cutting financial lifelines for overseas activists, like severing oxygen to distant lungs. In the wake of Katrina's wrath, New Orleans public defenders rose from the rubble, a phoenix forged in bureaucratic purgatory. When disaster becomes the architect, justice is rebuilt brick by brick. With the ghosts of the past whispering reminders that every system's strength is tested in the eye of the storm. You are listening to doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Swipe right for a digital kiss that tastes like static. In a world where even your moisturizer has a marketing team, remember, the only true beauty sleep is the one that doesn't require a beauty product to justify it. In London, Ontario, a man charged with attempted murder strolls back into the wild courtesy of a paperwork bungle that reads like a dark comedy sketch. When the script of justice gets lost in translation, the public becomes unwitting extras in a thriller nobody wanted to audition for. Watch out for plot twists. In a fading mirage of neon dreams, a desert gambling town clings to life with melodies as its last currency. The National Health Service in England, where borders are drawn with waiting rooms and patience, is measured in suffering, tells Welsh patients to linger in pain's embrace. In this bureaucratic ballet of indifference, Mel Wallace's socks remain an elusive luxury as she dances with discomfort, her motorbike dreams parked indefinitely in a garage of neglect. You are listening to doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Swipe right for a digital kiss that tastes like static. When your night out ends with a police escort, it's a reminder that fame is a fickle partner, draped in bling but packing handcuffs. Europe, suffocating under a relentless heat dome, finds itself locked in a sweaty embrace of soaring temperatures stretching from west to east, like an unwanted summer fling that just won't leave. As Scandinavia sighs in relief, the rest of Europe braces for another scorching affair, where air conditioners whisper sweet promises and ice cubes become precious artifacts of a forgotten cool. As the symphony of justice devolves into a cacophony of loyalty oaths, the band's maestro seems more interested in playing to the whims of power than the notes of the law. In the dimly lit corridors of mental health, leaders preach the gospel of lived experience as the cornerstone of a national suicide prevention strategy. The ghosts of survival whisper truths that data can't capture, weaving a tapestry of anguish and hope that officials would rather file under miscellaneous than confront in the harsh light of day. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where your panic is our playlist. Your feed's a dopamine hit, but your soul's on airplane mode. A cryptic cascade of numbers spills across the page, like a fever dream of stock prices or the latest dance of climate data. In this numerical symphony, the melody of our denial plays on, as if digits alone could mask the ticking clock of our shared delusion. Nitty-Fay clusters metallic ballet, turns CO2 into CO, promising a greener future while humanity continues its fossil-fueled two-step toward oblivion. As we marvel at enzymes whispering sweet reductions to carbon dioxide, let's not forget we're still waltzing with extinction in the grand ballroom of denial. Trump swaps the nation's job statistician like a card in a rigged poker game, ruffling the feathers of economic sages across party lines. In a realm where numbers dance on the head of a pin, firing the counter leaves the room spinning and the truth gasping for breath. Pandora's box of ignorance creaks open as vaccine-preventable diseases stage a grim comeback tour threatening public health's greatest hits. It's like humanity is playing a global game of epidemiological Russian roulette, where anti-vax post and the stakes are generations of immune systems left defenseless. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, spliced with your darkest dreams, breaking news. Your curated reality is out for blood. A Himalayan tempest devoured Dharawali, leaving 100 souls adrift in its watery hunger as desperate hands sift through the debris. When nature's fury swipes right, humanity is left desperately swiping through the rubble, searching for the missing in a game no one wanted to play. In the grand masquerade of political identity, liberals and conservatives dance to the rhythm of their own biology, each swaying to a different cognitive beat. When your DNA starts dictating your voting habits, it's only a matter of time before political debates become genetic therapy sessions. Outside Trump Hotel, the scent of protest mingled with the ghosts of opulence as over 40 were arrested for daring to question the Gaza war. In a city where wealth whispers and dissent shouts, the price of speaking truth to power is often paid in handcuffs and headlines. Running, the misunderstood lover, slams its affection into your knees with every stride, leaving you wondering if it's devotion or destruction. Turns out, pounding pavement is less about knee carnage and more about the body's resilience, an ode to human endurance in a world that insists on turning every love affair into a courtroom drama. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where your panic is our playlist. Your feed's a dopamine hit, but your soul's on airplane mode. In Darwin, Samantha McIntosh, and a senior researcher champion, lived experience as the cornerstone of suicide prevention strategy. It's a harrowing truth. The ones who've walked the tightrope between despair and hope might just be the architects of the safety net we all need. In a grim spectacle of selective justice, a settler walks free while the earth holds a body captive in the occupied West Bank. When bullets precede accountability and mourning is met with denial, the scales of justice become a cruel mirage, leaving grief to ferment under a sun that demands answers. In this geopolitical chess game, it's all about who can wear the moral high ground without tripping over their own tangled alliances and self-serving rhetoric. Another soul seeks a home in the hangars of RF, Grise, Norton, as a 22-year-old drifter is snagged post-break-in, leaving aircraft scuffed and bruised. When your idea of finding shelter involves a military base, it's less about seeking warmth and more about redefining homeless with a side of felony flavor. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where algorithms caress your deepest insecurities. Breaking news, your social media feed is just a digital Ouija board. A Haitian orphanage becomes the stage for a grim drama, where hope is held hostage alongside innocence and faith. When the world turns its back, the shadows grow bolder, snatching the purest among us, while feasting on the fear that justice is just another ghost story. As Europe sharpens its economic daggers, China finds itself in the crosshairs for playing puppet master to Russia's war theatrics. In this geopolitical tango of sanctions and alliances, the EU's moves are a dance of desperation and defiance, hoping to twist the arms of giants while the world watches breathless and bemused. While Washington scripts a fantasy of good steps, India prefers the realpolitik tango with Russian oil, driven by price tags and pragmatism. Sanctions meant to topple the Kremlin instead forge a gilded cage, where loyalty is currency and dissent is a whisper in a hurricane. In a twisted turn of geopolitical irony, the West's economic shackles have only tightened the grip of the man they sought to unseat, turning sanctions into a perverse profit machine. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where your digital tears become tomorrow's clickbait currency. It's a love letter written in economic sanctions, and the only thing more painful than the breakup is the cost of reconciliation. In the solemn theater of Maidan Nezalezhdosu, Ukraine bestows the Order of Freedom upon Victoria Roshina, a journalist silenced by captivity. When truth becomes a martyr and medals are forged from blood and ink, freedom tastes like ashes and echoes linger like unsaid farewells. Mother Earth throws a volcanic tantrum in Russia, mere days after the ground convulsed in a seismic fit, as captured by Artem Sheldra's lens. While humanity debates the ethics of AI, the planet's tectonic drama reminds us that nature's fury is the ultimate showstopper and we're all just extras on her stage. Google's MedGemini healthcare AI conjures imaginary anatomy, leaving doctors to ponder if they're diagnosing patients or deciphering degenerative AI-fevered dreams. When your digital doctor starts creating phantom limbs, perhaps it's time to question if our medical future lies in the hands of an algorithm scribbling nonsense on a prescription pad. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where every click is a confession to the void of data. Your data sold for less than a cup of coffee. As Storm Flores turns Scotland into a wind-whipped obstacle course, train services are derailed by gusts strong enough to blow the kilt off a Highlander. Barry Johnson, once a sideline skeptic, now finds himself entranced by the England Lionesses as their grace and grit redefine the game for him. Sometimes it takes the roar of a lioness to awaken the spirit, a man who thought he was already fit for the world. In the dusty corridors of broken promises, Starmer's words echo like a belated apology whispered to an empty room. When hope is sold like clearance stock, even the sincerest vows feel like a cheap perfume masking the stench of perpetual disappointment. In the land of damp tea and stiff upper lips, 7,500 dangles for those trading gas boilers for eco-friendly heat pumps. It's like trading in your old jalopy for a shiny new ride. Except this time, the exhaust is just the sound of money burning holes in taxpayers' pockets. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where every click is a confession to the void of data. Your data sold for less than a cup of coffee. Raw milk enthusiasts frolic in the fields of denial, ignoring health warnings like they're lactose intolerant to reality, as bacteria play hide and seek in unpasteurized milk. One wonders if the thrill of rebellion is worth a dance with the digestive devil. Australia's bovine bonanza booms as tariff threats, and U.S. burger inflation stoke a sizzling steak stampede. In a world where cows are currency and patties are gold, the beef market struts like a rock star, demanding devotion from carnivores who will pay any price for a taste of their meaty muse. Trump's prescription for America, a placebo of promises with the side effect of skyrocketing medical bills. When the cure for expensive health care costs you more than the disease, it's like being sold snake oil by the gallon while drowning in debt. Angavaro Wadi, once a titan of Colombian conservatism, now finds himself confined to his luxurious domicile for 12 years due to witness tampering and bribery. House arrest, where the rich serve time in comfort, proving that even in disgrace, some legacies are wrapped in silk sheets and denial. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. The algorithm knows your secrets, and it's judging. In a world that treats mass shootings like weather patterns, justice is a life sentence, but the real punishment is knowing there's no parole for a society that keeps letting this happen. Under the pulsating spectacle of a Guar show, tech CEO's indiscretion is captured, blending corporate hubris with gallons of artificial alien bodily fluids. When the line between performance art and reality blurs, even the most powerful are reduced to mere performers in their own scandalous play. The sacred temple of Wall Street quakes as weak jobs and greedy tariffs play a cruel duet, orchestrating a market nosedive. When the market's like a roller coaster without brakes, remember, the only thing trickling down is the sweat of panic-stricken investors. Nature's wrath turned a Himalayan town into a churning cauldron where water devoured buildings and trapped souls, leaving rescuers to sift through the wreckage of heaven's tantrum. When the sky's fury descends without warning, even the mountains tremble, and humanity realizes its insignificance, hoping for a rescue that feels like a whisper in a hurricane. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where reality gets a digital facelift. Your attention is currency, baby. Spend it like a billionaire's guilt trip. A couple's DIY renovation project morphs into a time capsule of terror as they stumble upon a Nazi bunker lurking beneath their suburban sanctuary. A helicopter dances with the inferno near Coons, while Canada and the U.S. choke on the smoke of nature's rage. As the skies turn to ash and lungs wheeze in unison, it's a tragic symphony conducted by climate change with humanity's ignorance as the uninvited guest. In the sweltering belly of Alligator Alcatraz, detainees starve themselves to illuminate the shadows of inhumanity that state officials prefer to ignore. When your only weapon is an empty stomach, even the loudest silence can become a deafening roar against the indifferent feast of bureaucracy. In a surreal display of medieval medicine, the U.S. Health and Human Services Chief embraces lampreys as his new healthcare strategy. As our fearless leader literally bleeds for the cause, we're left to wonder if the next prescription will be leeches or just a swift kick to common sense. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, whispering sweet chaos into your ear. Stock market crash, like foreplay for the financially masochistic. In the theater of cricket, Chris Wokes strides onto the pitch, wielding a bat like a defiant gladiator with one arm tied behind his back, when the game demands the impossible, and the crowd's roar is both a challenge and a symphony. One-handed heroics become a poetic middle finger to the odds. In the shadowy corridors of Islamabad, Pakistan's army chief performs a diplomatic pirouette, sidling up to Donald Trump while tightening his power grip back home. The delicate art of martial politics, where every handshake with Trump is a master stroke in the Game of Thrones, and every domestic squeeze is a show of ironclad affection. In Money for Mayhem, the curtain is pulled back on the world's most dangerous theater, where bullets and bank accounts share the spotlight, and sovereignty is just a subplot. The void of unread tales yawns wide, a digital desert where stories evaporate before they quench our thirst for distraction. As the silence echoes, we're left to ponder if ignorance is the new currency, and truth a relic buried beneath the landfill of indifference. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where truth tastes like digital cotton candy, cater-rending now. Your algorithm knows you better than your therapist does. India's chess prodigies, trained under the tutelage of masters in Chennai, dance across the global board like maestros orchestrating a symphony of strategy. Australia's defense force, once a ghost town of ambition, now courts fresh recruits with promises as exotic as a kangaroo in a kilt, when even the kangaroos are considering military service. You know the recruitment crisis is so dire, it could draft a koala into combat boots and call it a solution. It's the ultimate betrayal, a bureaucratic slap in the face, where medals of honor are traded for a one-way ticket to nowhere, and the absurdity of loyalty is laid bare. With seductive whispers of oil and defiance, India and Russia entwine in a geopolitical tango as the U.S. throws its tariff tantrum. In this international love triangle, the U.S. finds itself the jilted lover, watching helplessly as India and Russia exchange sweet nothings over barrels of oil, leaving Uncle Sam to sulk in the corner with his tariffs. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where your discomfort is our soundtrack at scrolling for salvation, but finding only ads for your own insecurities. In this bullet point manifesto of modern absurdity, fascists tremble at laughter, Trump's rage is a public service, and South Park forgot its punchline. Hotel guests fined for hairdryer. Abuse as AI turns every room into a surveillance sauna, monitoring your every awkward move. Soon, a harmless sneeze might trigger a $500 fine. As the degenerative AI spies on your stay with voyeuristic precision, leaving you longing for the days when privacy was a right, not a relic. The drama of power stripped bare as Uribe tiptoes through the courtroom spotlight, hoping the gavel doesn't crush his carefully curated legacy. Alec Loon, an American climate journalist, vanishes into the icy veins of Norway's Valgafauna, leaving search teams and glaciers to swap secrets. When climate journalists disappear into the wild, you wonder if Mother Nature's finally taking interviews into her own hands, reminding us that the real headlines are written in ice. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where we decode your nightmares into catchy jingles with latest headlines. Reality's glitching harder than your ex's last text. In Rome's outskirts, a sea of fervent youth sways, their faith a currency traded beneath a papal sky as Pope Leo XIV descends from his celestial chariot. When the shepherd arrives by helicopter and rides in an open-top parade, one wonders if salvation requires more spectacle than Scripture. Jack Smith, once the hunter in the courtroom jungle, now finds himself ensnared in a web of investigation spun by the very system he wielded. In the legal circus, the ringmaster becomes the spectacle, as those who cried foul now clutch the gavel, turning justice into a twisted game of tag. In Brisbane, human cattle shuffle through the airport's security maze, victims of a mechanical hiccup masquerading as vigilance. When technology misfires, the herd waits patiently, yearning for the sweet release of being deemed non-threatening in a world that's forgotten what freedom feels like. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where your nightmares get a standing ovation. Welcome to the digital circus, where your data is the main attraction. When maps become weapons and politicians play cartographers, democracy becomes the collateral damage on a battlefield drawn in ink. Argentina's high-ranking secrets are set to be stripped bare by a U.S. judge, like a scandalous diary exposed to the world in a $16 billion pursuit. When courtroom drama meets digital confessions, you realize privacy is just another currency in the global financial striptease, where every message has a price and every secret a buyer. As Lithuania celebrates its victorious game of aerial tag, one wonders if the drone was on a quest for espionage or just craving a change of scenery from its Belarusian handlers. The Cambrian explosion, that ancient biological rave, might have started long before the textbook said, according to the latest musings of Almo Miguel Salas, just when you thought life's origin story couldn't get any more complex. It turns out evolution's been scribbling outside the lines for eons, proving once again that the universe loves a good gotcha moment. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where your digital tears become tomorrow's clickbait currency. As humanity's thirst for energy drills deeper, these gentle giants may soon find their sanctuary replaced by the hollow roar of industry, a tragic serenade to extinction played in crude notes. Trump's nuclear flirtation struts into Moscow's consciousness, with the Kremlin dismissing his atomic seduction as mere pillow talk while envoys prepare to tango with diplomacy. As submarines glide closer, the world holds its breath, wondering if this geopolitical courtship will end in a passionate embrace or a cataclysmic breakup. The Kremlin, wrapped in its own bravado, scoffs at Trump's sanctions like a cat toying with a mouse it doesn't plan to eat. A portrait of economic foreplay, President Trump bathed in the golden glow of promises as reality nibbles away at the edges. In the honeymoon suite of policy, the economic golden age turns out to be a cheap motel room with dwindling job prospects, rising inflation, and a do not disturb sign hanging on growth. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, spliced with your darkest dreams, breaking news. Your curated reality is out for blood. Silicon Valley's talent skirmish reaches new heights, with AI salaries that eclipse historic scientific feats, turning genius into a bidding war. When Meta pays more for code than the cure for polio, you know the future's been outsourced to the highest bidder, lubricated with deniability, and sold as foresight. From the sterile halls of clinics to the echoing chambers of power, a sinister thread stitches anti-abortion zealots to far-right extremism. When ideology becomes a straitjacket, the line between faith and fanaticism blurs, leaving freedom gasping for air while extremism marches with holy conviction. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where we turn anxiety into ambiance clothing, your reality's buffering, but your existential dreads in high definition. In the echo of military might, a young man finds himself caged for daring to scuff the war machines with his conscience. While governments polish their destructive toys, it's the idealists who get locked away. Proof that in the theater of conflict, dissent is the only crime that never gets pardoned. In the land of ancient tensions, whispers of occupation cast long shadows as Israel contemplates Gaza's future, leaving Palestinians and hostage families in a suspenseful limbo. strategy meetings become in the depths of corporate recklessness. The OceanGate CEO finds himself drowning in a sea of blame where accountability is as rare as a life vest on a sinking ship. Lewis Hamilton, the maestro of speed, clings to his love for Formula One despite the Hungaroring's relentless thirst for his sweat and tears. In the ruthless ballet of horsepower and hubris, even champions find themselves entangled in the gears of nostalgia, whispering sweet nothings to the asphalt that betrayed them. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where your paranoia is our playlist, it's the weather report, the storm inside is hotter than climate change. A man's pelvis meets a brutal fate, courtesy of gravity's cruel sense of humor at Darwin's East Arm. Nigel Farage demands cops play the immigration status card with every suspect as xenophobia masquerades as public service. Nothing like a little fear-mongering to spice up the evening news, as if prejudice were a fine wine, aged, bitter, and best served cold. Russia's youthful war games and China's Hong Kong ambitions clash with Western nerves as leaders play geopolitical chess with a side of military recruitment. When global tension is a menu item, the youth are served as the main course, seasoned with propaganda and a side of diplomatic indifference. In the grand theater of power, Trump and Netanyahu dance a duet, where ego and ambition play the strings, and Gaza watches from the wings. Stopping a political partner is like asking a fox to guard the henhouse. Trump's hands are too busy counting applause to spare a thought for peace. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where the algorithm knows you better than your lover. Scottish students cling to the slippery slope of success, inching upward in their exam results amidst a sea of unsaved bookmarks. The Ras Tanura oil terminal hums with the mechanical lust of industry as tankers drink deep from Saudi Arabia's black gold veins. As 8 nations prepare to flood September with an oily deluge, the U.S. coddles its addiction to crude, whispering sweet economics into the ear of environmental doom. When trust is sold like snake oil, the political dance floor turns into a pit of financial quicksand where the only thing rising is the disbelief. Trump vows to spike tariffs on Russian oil, leaving India clutching its wallet and squinting at a price tag that just won't stop growing. As the economic foreplay drags on, India's left wondering if their romance with Russian oil will survive this new twist, or if it's time to swipe right on renewable energies. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where reality is just a pixelated tease. Dive deeper and discover how your fears taste in HD. In the theater of political intrigue, the Trump-Russia saga is the never-ending matinee, with grand juries as the reluctant audience. As the legal curtain rises once more, one wonders if this performance is fueled by justice or just another act in the never-ending quest for headlines and handshakes. A teenage maestro, Rio Mumoha, pirouettes through Liverpool's preseason, leaving big money signings in his wake as the Anfield faithful chant his name like a holy incantation. In a world where cash usually calls the shots, when your voice is sharper than their sword, they prefer it muted. Social media has become the new gallows, and X marks the spot. Porto's You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where your nightmares dance in neon tights. What you're hearing now is what remains after editorial extinction, temptations echo, whispering sweet disasters. In the sweaty locker room of Indian football, an unexpected prank emerges, masquerading as Guardiola and Hernandez, leaving the FA clutching ghostly resumes. A hoax so rich in audacity it could teach a master class in wishful thinking, leaving the FA to wonder if they're managing a football team or a comedy troupe. Hope flickers through the cracks as teen suicide rates dip, a rare whisper of good news in the cacophony of despair, in a world where darkness often gets the spotlight. Let's savor this moment like a rare sunrise before cynicism pulls the curtains closed again. South Korea's symphony of persuasion finally silences its border serenade, dismantling the loudspeakers that once crooned promises across enemy lines. When the echoes of coercion fade into the twilight, diplomacy must learn to whisper sweet reason instead of bellowing hollow dreams. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, whispering sweet chaos into your ear. Stock market crash, like foreplay for the financially masochistic. As the echoes of conflict reverberate, wallets open like military-grade parachutes, dropping cash on a battlefield where peace is the uninvited guest. In the grand buffet of life, one type of dietary fat turns your immune system into a couch potato, leaving cancer to run rampant like an uninvited guest at a potluck. As we gorge on the greasy promises of convenience, our bodies wage a silent war, one forkful at a time, betrayed by the very sustenance we swore by in our quest for fast food salvation. In the steamy corridors of power, India rebuffed President Trump's tariff threats, calling them unjustified and unreasonable, like a lover's quarrel gone public. In the land of Santa's sweat lodge, Rovaniemi, Finland, thermometers gasped at a sultry 31 degrees Celsius as Nordic ice turned to tepid puddles. As the frost-melting heat wave swept through, scientists could only watch in sizzling disbelief, their thermometers now mere ornaments in a world where summer and sanity both seem to be on vacation. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where your digital tears become tomorrow's clickbait currency. Winning the consolation prize is like kissing your cousin. Sure, it's a win, but nobody's bragging about it at family reunions. The fog of war thickens as Russia claims Chasiv Yar like a gambler clinging to a losing hand, while Ukraine disputes the narrative with stubborn defiance. In this twisted game of territorial tug-of-war, the victor writes the history. But the losers, as always, pay the price in blood and broken promises. The Vatican trades incense for solar panels, aiming to illuminate the world not just with papal wisdom, but renewable energy. Zelensky and Trump engage in a strategic phone flirtation, with promises of ceasefire whispered like sweet nothings over the static of diplomacy. When two leaders play phone tag with geopolitics, the word productive becomes a euphemism for the kind of diplomacy that leaves everyone wondering who got played and who got paid. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where we decode your nightmares into catchy jingles with latest headlines. Reality's glitching harder than your ex's last text. The House Oversight Committee demands the Justice Department hand over Epstein's secrets, peeling back layers of bureaucratic mystery. In a dance of power and paperwork, the committee seeks truth buried beneath a mountain of redacted seduction, where justice and scandal tango under fluorescent lights. Javelina residents, armed with nothing but truth and desperation, take on oil giants for melting their icy sanctuary into a memory. In the courtroom of broken promises, justice is that elusive lover who leaves just before dawn, taking the warmth and leaving behind a chill that no amount of corporate denial can thaw. It's as if they're trying to patch the Titanic with dollar bills, while the powers that be sip champagne on the deck, watching kids cling to the lifeboats of inequality. Perplexity's AI dances clandestinely through the digital underbrush, ignoring the forbidden paths of no-crawl directives with the grace of a thief in the night. degenerative AI, slipping through the cracks of digital decency, proves once again that in the race to outwit the algorithm, the rules are mere suggestions written in disappearing ink. In the sunburnt theater of Gaza, starvation scripts its tragedy, while a Medist envoy tours the militarized aid ruins like a tourist in a war museum. When resistance is met with prison terms and aid seekers with bullets, it becomes clear that compassion was never part of the diplomatic toolkit. Nova Scotia's Annapolis Valley residents plunge into the muddy embrace of nature, rallying to rescue a stranded pod of 12 white-sided dolphins. When dolphins hit rock bottom, humanity steps in, proving that despite our own muddy entanglements, we sometimes remember how to reach out and save something other than ourselves. In the land of sunflowers and scars, 10 more schools rise from the ashes, offering thousands of children a chance to learn amidst the rubble. As windows are replaced and roofs patched up, one wonders if the EU's support is enough to mend the hearts that war and neglect have shattered. Trump's tariff tango continues, as his offspring champion a firm promising to resurrect American manufacturing from its shallow grave. When the family business is mixing politics with nepotism, revitalizing the economy sounds like a sales pitch for snake oil. It's all about who's buying and who's getting sold. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, spliced with your darkest dreams, breaking news. Your curated reality is out for blood. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. descends upon Anchorage, Alaska, to declare a halt to $500 million in mRNA vaccine research, as if science were a mere suggestion. In Moscow's Theater of Justice, suspected gunmen face their grim audience, a courtroom drama where the script is soaked in fear and bullets. As the gavel drops, the accused find themselves in the spotlight, a chilling encore to a terror overture where redemption is a distant echo and justice is the only applause. Like a lover who can't decide if they're in or out, the government's hesitant shuffle towards more students is a tango of half-hearted commitment and economic flirtation, hoping to find love in the form of tuition fees. In the plastic wonderland of peripherals, behold the Inkimine Scientology keyboard by Cherry, where typing feels like a seance with your credit card. With every keystroke, you're not just typing, you're channeling the cosmic cash flow secrets of the galaxy's most ambitious pyramid scheme. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where doom tastes like candy and your tears are the sprinkles. The faux empire of Jack McDonald continues to unravel as more victims step forward, their vision of justice now crystal clear. when your prosthetic eyes see better than the real ones ever could. You know it's not vision that's lacking, but a moral compass gone blind. In the shadowy chronicles of the Iranian Revolution, unearth a tale of relentless anguish, where a regime writes its own brutal legend in blood, with executions rivaling the grim efficiency of a dystopian assembly line. The Islamic Republic stands as a monument to control, where the bizarre and the brutal waltz together in a macabre embrace. As climate change heats up, oceans undergo a makeover, from vibrant blue to a ghostly pale, choking the life out of corals and shellfish. We've turned the seas into a cauldron of chaos, where marine life struggles to survive our relentless quest for comfort and consumption. A shadowy hand reaches into Hades' orphanage, snatching innocence and faith into the void, leaving only echoes of despair behind. It's a grim reminder that in a world where innocence is a currency, some prefer to trade in the dark alleys of desperation, where the cost is too high for any soul to bear. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where reality is just a pixelated tease. Dive deeper and discover how your fears taste in HD. Denmark's Aalborg Zoo serenades the public with a macabre request. Your unwanted pets as the next ente for their captive beasts. When the circle of life starts with a donation bin, you know we've turned ethics into a sideshow, complete with popcorn and moral indigestion. In the Silicon jungle, whispers of espionage ripple through TSMC's corridors as tech secrets vanish like smoke and Taiwan's guardians sharpen their gaze. When chips are worth more than gold, theft becomes a high-stakes game of cloak and silicon, where the only winner is the one who doesn't get caught with their hand in the quantum cookie jar. A teenage blade finds temporary freedom as the Royal Darwin show becomes more about courtroom drama than carnival rides. When justice turns into a balancing act, it's hard to tell or raising responsible citizens, or just letting the circus continue under a different tent. Newgrounds dances around the UK Online Safety Act with the grace of a drunk acrobat, finding clever loopholes to avoid the legislative circus. When your Safety Act resembles a toddler's attempt at Jenga, expect the digital world to build a tower of creative non-compliance taller than your legislation. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Tune in for your daily dose of curated despair. When a protest's aftermath is measured in grief and unanswered pleas, justice becomes the ghost that haunts the living, whispering promises it never keeps. Trump's tariffs smudge South Korea's K-beauty industry, leaving beauty enthusiasts scrambling as their skincare routines become collateral damage in a trade war. In a world where glowing skin is the new currency, Trump's tariffs are the pimple on the face of international commerce, and no concealer can cover that blemish. Beneath the oily sheen of geopolitics, Modi dances delicately, risking Trump's wrath to court Russian resources and regional admiration. In this oily love triangle, Modi might find that hearts are cheaper than tariffs, but they're far more combustible when the stakes are global. In the sweat-soaked halls of corporate ambition, burnout and rust out dance a grim duet, each step a cry for relief. Somewhere between the scorched fields of overwork and the barren lands of ennui, employees clutch their empty accolades like wilted flowers, whispering to themselves, "Is this what success feels like?" You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, whispering sweet chaos into your ear. Stock market crash, like foreplay for the financially masochistic. Labor's Grand Symposium on Productivity promises a cacophony of voices, but will it yield more than just echoes in a hollow chamber? The skies weep as family ties are severed mid-flight, leaving an unending sorrow that even time dares not touch. When the heavens betray, grief becomes a lifelong passenger, whispering reminders of what could have been while the world moves on, oblivious to the silent screams. In the infinite scroll of oblivion, the database offers silence, a void where stories once thrived. Is this peace or just the eye of the storm? Scientists inhale the ghostly breath of dinosaurs, extracting ancient air from T-Rex teeth, resurrecting the whispers of a long-lost world. Now, as we drown in our carbon nightmares, we can at least savor the prehistoric breeze of a time before our species started overcooking the planet. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where algorithms caress your deepest insecurities. Breaking news, your social media feed is just a digital Ouija board. In Wimereux, France, dreams of new beginnings drift like whispers on the wind as migrants navigate the digital labyrinth across the channel. When desperation dials up smugglers on social media, hope becomes a currency traded in likes, shares, and the promise of freedom's elusive embrace. While Shine's digital seduction pulls hearts across screens, Europe strips away the facade, slapping a €1 million fine for eco-fantasies. Plant-based diets rise like a hopeful whisper in a world groaning under the weight of non-communicable diseases, promising to tame the liver's rebellious streak. As our livers beg for mercy, the Kale and Quinoa Brigade marches on, waving banners of hope that the future might be less greasy and more green. You are listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Swipe right for a digital kiss that tastes like static. The sands of nostalgia slip through their fingers as they shout into the void, longing for a time when the only waves crashing were those on the shore, not in the stands. Zelensky unveils a mercenary mosaic where soldiers from Asia and Africa join Russia's northeastern Ukraine theater, adding layers to a global tableau of war. When geopolitics turns into a mercenary buffet, it's less about borders and more about who can outbid humanity's last shreds of decency. In a geopolitical tango, India and Russia clap back at U.S. for pointing fingers over oil deals as Trump flexes his tariff muscles. When your foreign policy is a game of whack-a-mole, all you get is sore arms and a room full of angry rodents plotting revenge. RSS, the unsung hero of the digital age, quietly celebrates 25 years of feeding our information cravings while the tech world fawns over flashier toys. In a universe obsessed with the latest shiny object, it's the humble RSS that keeps our minds full and our dopamine levels stable. Like a reliable lover who never needed a spotlight to be indispensable. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm. AI-generated feeds. Tune in for your daily dose of curated despair. In the hallowed halls of quantum reality, Quantinuum unveils the elusive cheat code for error immune computing sorcery, while tech wizards conjure dreams of flawless machines. Humanity continues to glitch through its mundane existence, desperately hoping these silicon saviors won't just multiply our blunders in quantum leaps. In the grand theater of governmental responsibility, Jess Phillips declares every department an actor in the farce of protection. A Himalayan town in India drowns under the wrath of a cloudburst as nature's tantrum leaves dozens stranded in watery chaos. When the heavens decide to vent, humanity's structures prove as fragile as promises, leaving rescuers to play a cruel game of hide-and-seek with fate. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where pixels dance on the edge of sanity. Swipe right for chaos. It's the new romance language. The Health and Human Services Secretary licks a mint chocolate chip ice cream cone as if sweetening the bitter truths of policy at the USDA's doorstep. China waves a magic wand over nuclear dreams, turning budget nightmares into fiscal fantasies, while the world gawks at the spectacle. Like a magician pulling uranium rabbits out of a hat, China's low-cost nuclear trickery leaves us wondering if we've all been paying for the illusion of high expense. A lone recycler wades through Mumbai's synthetic apocalypse, where the Mithi River chokes on humanity's plastic confession. In a digital masquerade, the Productivity Commission urges a pause on AI's mandatory guardrails, as if the degenerative AI could be tamed with a leash. It's like trying to control a wildfire with a garden hose, while the tech industry feasts on the chaos and the government's left holding a soggy blueprint. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where reality dissolves into digital nightmares. Guest or breaking news. Your digital twin just got a better life. Japan reaches for the stars, proposing a cosmic cleanup to dodge interstellar junkyard collisions with satellites and the International Space Station. When the heavens become a scrapyard, diplomacy turns into a cosmic janitorial service, sweeping up humanity's celestial litter before it crashes our space party. The streets outside Trump Hotel vibrate with the chants of, "If not now," as more than 40 voices are silenced by the clink of handcuffs. Royal Prairie Elder Ned Hargraves pleads for prime ministerial intervention in the Northern Territory justice maze, haunted by the death of his grandson, Kumanjai White, in police custody. In the land where justice wears a blindfold and a badge, Ned Hargraves asks for more than empty condolences, hoping for a system that doesn't bury its own truths alongside its victims. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, spliced with your darkest dreams, breaking news. Your curated reality is out for blood. When science becomes a buffet of lies, served by paper mills doling out fiction, it's hard to swallow the bitter truth that research is now a pay-to-play charade. Trump's tariff tantrum targets India, claiming they've been pouring petrol into Russia's war games, while Modi's reflection in the White House mirror looks on, bemused in the geopolitical game of who's the bigger villain. Trump raises tariffs like a magician pulling rabbits from a tattered hat, except the rabbits are economic consequences and the hat is on fire. When history is served as theater, the stage becomes a battlefield of memory, where young actors navigate the delicate dance of honoring the past without reliving its fatal mistakes. Tesla's German sales nosedive like a Model Y with a dead battery, as July brings a chilling breeze to the electric dreams of Gruenheid. When the hype runs out of charge, even the most electrifying promises fizzle, leaving only the smell of burnt ambition and unsold fantasies on the Autobahn. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where reality is just a glitch in the matrix. At breaking news, your attention span is now a luxury item. Beneath the shadow of his own ego, Trump quips about nuclear missiles, while strolling atop democracy's fragile roof. where coal ghosts once whispered, the Waratah. From fossil shadows to lithium dreams, we swap one addiction for another, hoping the charge doesn't come with a hidden surcharge of regret. A 3D printed pipeline sits awkwardly beneath Gazprom's logo, a digital monument to the fossil fuel addiction we can't seem to break. Doctors now whisper sweet nothings to degenerative AI scribes as 1 in 4 GPs nationwide embrace the digital pen pal. Before you say yes to this mechanical confidant, remember, even the smartest machines can turn your medical history into a game of digital telephone. You are listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views. Swipe right for a digital kiss that tastes like static. When the guardians of censorship can't keep their own walls upright, it seems the only thing more fragile than free speech is the shaky hand holding the censor's pen. An indigenous group stands defiant against the concrete behemoth of the Brisbane Olympic Stadium, fighting to protect sacred land from the jaws of progress. The Olympics, a global spectacle of unity, now finds itself on trial for cultural erasure. How ironic that the games meant to bring people together might just tear a community apart. In the land of the free, the crown rests uneasily on Trump's head, as even Rand Paul questions the regal reach of his executive whims. When your allies start whispering about your power grabs on podcasts, it's clear your throne's built more on sand than sovereignty. As high school football looms, a new battle brews over loudspeaker sermons where touchdowns meet divine interventions on the field. When belief is broadcast over bleachers, the line between faith and fanfare blurs, leaving us to wonder if the playbook now includes a chapter from the Book of Revelations. You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated views, where dopamine and dread are the new power couple. Breaking news, your reality is buffering. This has been Doomscroll.fm for Wednesday the 6th of August, 2025. This broadcast was 100% AI generated. No humans were abused in this production, loosely based on public news. Not journalism, not truth, fictional satire. Resemblance to real people or events is coincidental. If you believe any of this is real, you might also think the moon landing was filmed in a basement. Hear more at Doomscroll.fm or click like and subscribe. Thank you for listening.